Alright guys, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the High Elves and the Wood Elves. It's going to be myself with the Archmage facing off against Subutai, who's going to be rocking the Big Tree Man here on Itza. So things are going to get pretty crunk pretty quickly. Now, as far as my build goes, it's going to be Silverins in the front. Very, very good unit. 55 melee defense, 31 melee attack on these bad boys, of course, Chevron. But they're able to hold against most threats. They have silver shields, they have high armor. What's not to love? They can fight off War Dancers, they can fight off Dryads, they can absorb shooting. Just an absolute ace of a unit. So Silverin Guards are going to be the front, and we have Shadow Warriors in the back. So Shadow Warriors are pretty cool in this matchup, actually. I think a little bit underrated, perhaps. They can move up, and they can DAC it down a lot of the very squishy Wood Elf units. So if the Wood Elves are doing a more aggressive playstyle like this, you're going to be able to rip some really nice shots into the War Dancers, and the Eternal Guards, if you can shoot them in the back, isn't bad, mitigating their shields. But overall, their hit and run is quite good, and their stats are nice in melee too, 38, 34, 32. So for example, if some Glade Riders attack them, they're going to be able to fight them off potentially and keep going after that. So 4 of the Shadow Warriors. Silverin Guards are the rest of the army here, and it is going to be an Archmage of Fire with Burning Head as our core hero. Our Lord, I should say. So Burning Head's very good. Don't need to explain that. Burning against the Wood Elves, very strong. For Subutai's army here, he's going to be rocking an Ancient Tree Man with Awakening of the Wood, as well as Earthblood. So both of these are very cheap spells, which can perpetually trigger the Life Bloom, which heals your whole army. So really not bad at all. And yeah, War Dancers can do a little bit of crumping, but they will run into some heavy problems against the Silverin Guard. Although in a straight up fight, I don't know who would win a long grind. I can't help but think the Silverin with the high armor and just super jacked melee defense might be able to edge it out, but we'll have to see. Backfield's going to be some Hagbane tips and D-put scouts up in the high ground doing a little poke and stroke. Ambushing, and it looks like their position is going to be revealed. The silver shields of the Silverin Guard stand at the ready, General, as now we prepare to do battle with the Elves of the Wood. So my first call into the back is going to be a Bolt Thrower on Itza. I was just kind of like, if he goes with Treekin or any sort of a big Flying Dragon Lord, just sitting it on the Lord I felt would be pretty cost effective, right? So here we have the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, and it's just going to sit on the Tree Man literally the entire game, which is going to potentially force some heals into that bad boy and maybe mitigate his effectiveness. So first of all, he does go down. War Dancers get absolutely pounded here by the Shadow Warriors, which are going to be retreating back. Meanwhile, on the other side, we're going to do something very, very similar. Shadow Warriors going to be ripping some shots here onto the advancing War Dancers, and once again, they get chunked down about 30-40% of their HP, so talk about cost effective. Definitely good. Big fight up in the high ground. It's going to be Reavers versus Glade Riders. Reavers do win that fight, 32 and 38 versus 28-32. But again, the Reavers are more dependent on their martial prowess, but overall, the High Elves will have the edge in that little duel of fate. So Silverin Guard moving up, and we do get nice volleys here on the Deepwood Scouts from our Shadow Warriors, although my opponent is returning the favor a little bit with their 2 Archer units nailing into my Shadow Warriors. The loose formation certainly helps quite a bit, but here comes the Cavalry fight, and a big Burning Head on the low ground is going to absolutely roast those War Dancers there. So that's good. The Silverin Guard going to be freed up to move on to the objective to do some other things, while on this side, we do get pressed a little bit. So we do have the War Dancers chasing us, and I am conserving ammo right now. So at this point, I could have actually just turned and shot. A little bit of shooting being ordered there, and once again, the War Dancers do get popped in the face. Nice round here. Going to be enveloping my Silverin Guard, who haven't really taken too many casualties yet. But overall, they should be able to hold well here. The Eternal Guard have very low melee attack. It's like 20-something. So they're not really going to be able to do much to Silverins, and overall the Silverins should win this fight pretty heavily. Silver Helms coming in now, so Silver Helms with shields, and heavy shot cab in general have always been a really good staple against the Elves, and against any Elvish factions, although I guess Dark Elves counter heavy cavalry pretty well. So Shadow Warriors now in a little bit of danger of being enveloped here by these Glade Riders, but we do call out an ambush, so the Illyrian Reavers pop out, and we do get a nice charge here, and I actually give a charge order to the Shadow Warriors too. So they're going to move in and engage in combat, and with their almost 40 melee defense, they won't take too much damage here, and they do pin in these Glade Riders. So you can see now they're having trouble escaping. We took very little damage in the process, only losing 2 models, and life is good over here. Now the Burning Head goes down, but I did misclick there and just shot it off into the Shadow Realm, so that was a big blunder here. Up in the high ground, my Reavers do defeat the Glade Riders, but unfortunately I do leave them in combat against spears, so they are going to be paying the Troll Toll, but hey, at least they got the job done. More pressure in the backfield from Subutai, as his Glade Riders maneuver about, looking for freebies on the Shadow Warriors. But like I said, Shadow Warriors pretty resilient folk, and I'm hoping they're going to be able to fight here. And now I see an opportunity. Both of our factions can respond very quickly to threats, right? So my Silver Helm see just an awesome free real estate pick here. The Glade Guard with the Hagbane tips, a relatively expensive unit, about 600 gold. So we do jump on that, but we are going to see a response from the Hardwood. 1,600 supplies can mean only one of a few things, and one of which in this case is going to be the Great Stag Knight. So Great Stag Knights are awesome here, for sure. Gotta watch out for them being focus fired, but if they can isolate my Silver Helms or any of my light cavalry, they can really do a lot of damage. So Christmas is coming early, ladies and gentlemen, as they charge out, and they are gonna wreck those Silver Helms. You don't realize how big those guys are until you see them up close. They're just towering over these Silver Helms here, geez. Looking across the battlefield, objectives are a little bit scary for myself. Wood Elves do own this one. The Ancient Tree Man has been cackling all day. Silverhelm's holding well, or excuse me, Silver and Guard. But the tree might be able to edge this fight out as the old War Dancers do struggle to get through there. Bolt Thrower still putting constant pressure on the big tree. He's been able to heal through a lot of the DPS, and now it looks like there was some back pressure as the Eternal Guard and War Dancers try and get into my backfield. But overall, we are able to call out some Illyrian Reavers, soften them up a little bit, and a big old Burning Head's going to get it done. Cheap Archmage doing great work as the fire. The Aster moves in and just absolutely roasts those advancing Wood Elves. That's going to be a complete buckle on that position. On the high ground, we do see the War Dancers chasing my Shadow Warriors. Not a fight that I want in melee. Though Shadow Warriors can hold their own, it's still not something you want, right? So we're going to pull away, do a little bit of kiting. Meanwhile, I was sending Rangers to the high ground, but the Dryads will crush the Rangers typically, because Rangers rely on their physical resist to really trade, in my experience. I mean, of course, they can do okay with, if it's mitigated, but I still don't want to do that because Dryads do have magic damage. So we're going to maneuver them down to the low ground where they might be useful. And we're just going to be trying to get this middle objective. So Archmage is over here with the remnants of the Silverin. Here the Reavers are battling off these Glade Riders. And the big old Christmas Cavalry did put an absolute beat down on my Silverhelms right here. And have now gotten into my backfield. So it's getting a little bit crunk here. In response, I do call out some old Sisters of Avalorn. And the idea with Sisters, I think having one of them against Wood Elves is really good because they can just nuke down these Ancient Treemen type characters and all that sort of good stuff. But my timing was a little bit poor. I didn't see how quickly they were advancing, and he's going to get a free charge on my Sisters. Granted, they're good fighters. The Sisters of Avalorn are 38 and 50. They're going to be able to put some hurt back in this melee combat here. But just to make sure I win the fight, I do call in Reavers and also pulled my Reavers from the high ground, and we get a big surround there, pinning in those very expensive cavalry, which is going to further advance our value lead here. A middle objective we still haven't flipped yet. An absolute pain in the butt. Have not been able to really get on the board yet. Here are a couple Dryads that engage against my Rangers from the high ground, but the Burning Head from the Archmage able to do great work and hopefully will give me the edge in that fight. Looks like the Burning Head going the distance, baby, and it does end up going through those Eternal Guard. Talk about very, very lucky, huh? Shadow Warriors pressing back up in the point, so they were able to stabilize from all that pressure, and now I felt like I had an opportunity to press all the objectives. So we're going to move up here. We will be calling in some Lothern Sea Guard back here in just a moment to start pressing that side. And the Shadow Warriors are now back online, going to be using all their ammunition. And look at these guys just holding all day, man. Up to about 800 value on these. The other ones are sitting at about 500. More diving in the backfield with these Glade Riders, but should be easy to shut down. I find that high elf light cavalry and even their medium cavalry, like Silverhelms, are excellent at defending the backfields. They're one of those factions that can really effectively defend their missiles, even against factions like Wood Elves, which are one of the best in the game at really harassing and diving backfields and just swarming you, right? Well, not swarming per se, but pressing with their missiles while also diving you. They're trying to hold on to the middle. The Reavers trying to charge these spears before they can get the brace off. Rangers do make their way to the middle to do battle with the Dryads, and now we do have the Lothern Sea Guard coming in, so the Sea Guard just blasts these War Dancers into oblivion. Meanwhile, the Shadow Warriors do get melee combat. They had a little bit of ammo left, but taking a more brute force approach here with the... I think their melee attack is like around 30, although their martial prowess is probably pretty close to... no, they're hanging in there. It's at 25% here, so... It will keep doing battle and potentially make some progress. Glade Riders now going to be charging. Glade Riders will be good against Shadow Warriors. If they charge through the front, it won't be as bad. But what should have been done is moving up and around the back. Granted, that does expose them to a counter charge from my Vanguard point as well. So there's points and pros and cons for both. Now, middle point looks good. Dryads do get buckled off. Sisters of Avalorn are more or less functional. They got 79 models right here. Just looking for opportunities to shoot at any loose units wherever I can. But that clock is moving against me. I am up on value pretty heavily, but the Wood Elves do have a lot of healing. The Ancient Treeman has been healing this entire game, and despite the Bolt Thrower sitting on him and using all of its ammo, it got him down to about 4,000 HP, but that was also with Silverins poking him. Nice charge here from Subutai. Just hammer into my Shadow Warriors, and we'll see if they're going to be able to stabilize. 1,200 HP, looking a little bit worse for wear, but once they do stand up and start fighting, the DPS is going to start switching, right? And that's the thing with like Ogre Kingdoms. You notice how a lot of my guys got staggered or stunned or knocked over? And that mitigates my DPS. You notice I wasn't doing DPS right out of the gates against these guys, right? But the Ogre Kingdoms are immune to knockdown, and they're immune to staggering because of a little bit of faulty coding over there, or perhaps some sort of other issue on the back end. I'm not sure what, but that's why one of the reasons why Ogres just are so insane and their DPS is so just off the chains. On the top side of the battlefield, it looks like the Wood Elves holding on to the point to the best of their abilities, but we got some good quality units coming in. We got Silverins, we do also have Lothern Sea Guard, Spears and Shields. Those bad boys are moving up, and we should be able to get this objective pretty easily. The remaining defenders are very tattered. These Dryads are basically on death's bed. They're too weak, help me. the D-put scouts are going to do basically nothing against these type of units. On the middle, big pressure coming in from the Wood Elves, man, and I felt like I was so far ahead, but he just kept holding on to these points and was approaching 1,000 here. So, I mean, this is obviously triple cap territory, right? If he's able to keep scrapping on the points and I'm not able to wrestle them sometime soon, I could be in big danger. So now we do get Lost Sylvan Knights moving in. Sisters of Avalorn are a little bit undefended here. I did not quite have the resources to get there immediately. Silver Helms do get called in to try and screen here, and we do take a fair amount of HP off those bad boys, but at the end of the day, they do get on my expensive missile piece, and I do pay the troll toll, but there is going to be some counter-punching. Silver Helms get their lances couched, I guess for the Donut Island, I suppose, would be the cool war cry there. But they do get in there, hammer down these Glade Riders, and we have a little bit of Overwatch fire from these Lothern Sea Guards. So Lothern Sea Guard will do good damage, just peppering away into these cavalry units. Granted, in the middle, a little bit of theft opportunity. The Wood Elf Dryads do clear out my tattered Rangers. So up on the high ground here, I get my Lothern Sea Guard to whip out their fat bows and hopefully shoot these Dryads off the objective before they can capture it. I figured that would be a little bit better than if I just moved down there. I don't know. We'll see if it ends up paying off, though. Side objective, still can't get my clutches on it. That Ancient Tree Man is an absolute troll, dude. He has just been laughing it all the way to the bank. 2,500 HP on him. I do call in another bolt thrower because I really wanted to kill him. Subutai was even teasing me in Discord that I wasn't going to get him, so we had to make sure to find our way to get him. So the Ancient Tree Man waddling, more bolt thrower shooting at that bad boy. Lost Sylvan Knights take some heavy damage in that conflict, and the Sisters of Avalorn do also get back. But nice heals, the Earthblood there are going to be incredibly cost effective. And he quickly realizes that he should just probably force move onto the Sisters to shut them down, which is what he does. Granted, the middle does get stabilized. Lothern Sea Guard going to be parking there, ripping some very cost-effective shots into the Dryads. Granted, Dryads do have some mitigation against missiles. They do have the 20% Fizz Res, and 60 armor isn't insignificant either. But I do get two of these very tanky units, both of which have over 50 melee defense up on the point. And at the end of the day, that's going to be a tough one. High ground is secured as well. We just have Silverin Guards chilling. So, I mean, this objective, as long as I leave the Silverins there, probably isn't going to be threatened the rest of the game. So really just need to focus on the epicenter of action right here, which is, of course, objective number 2. That was our last Burning Head. I did use it on the old Sylvan Knights, trying to break their leadership. Didn't do that much damage to them, and unfortunately, I do think it was a bit of a waste. Should have used it on these like full health Dryads over here, but you know, it is what it is. You got to experiment with these things. Side objective is being held by the old Wood Elves, guys. So they do get over 1,000 points, approaching 1,100. The Ancient Tree Man using the terrain, and he's going to be hiding behind this pillar right here, which will save him, which was so incredibly troll. I was trying so hard to finish him off, but Sea Guard coming out in all directions. Reavers also playing the objective. In the middle, it's looking pretty good for us. We do have the Lothern Sea Guard with their spears, all of whom will trade super hard up into these cav units, right? Elves do have a lot of fun playstyles for sure, and they got like the big dragons and monsters. I can see the appeal of the High Elves. I know I've given them grief for many years as a loyal Sigmarite, but they got some cool units, and their playstyle is fun, like those really tanky spears with the bows behind them, and then a heavy shot cav and monsters and stuff. They bring a lot of fun stuff to the table, but you know, you guys didn't, you didn't hear me say that, but you know, it is what it is. So Dryads here, trying to duke it out, and getting a little bit low. Lothern Sea Guard focus fire, wearing them down. I know I need a triple cap, so I'm kind of progressively taking advantage of my value lead and going for all the objectives, but ironically with the amount of healing that he's done. So right now it's about a 4,000 value lead. I could say you could probably take away like 2,000 of that with the healing being taken into account, but a 2,000 value lead is still pretty substantial, right? That's like 2 or 3 extra units I have in the battlefield that my opponent doesn't. Middle's looking pretty secure for us, but he could obviously just one-on-one objective, so we need to start playing for this side point here. The big Ancient Tree Man not looking too healthy at 1,200 HP, just barely hanging on. Pulling a Palpatine here. More call-ins for myself are going to be more spears, Silverin Guards, heavy cavalry as well, and here comes the old Christmas cav. Lost Sylvan Knights not doing bad, about 1,300 value here, but they are going to be getting poked pretty heavily by the Lothern Sea Guard, so those guys are going to be putting some big shots down. Archmage of Fire coming across. You would think like the basic mage characters would do magic damage. I always feel like that's something they could add. Just like all these basic casters in the game. I mean, they should do magic damage in melee. They're literally wielding like magical staves. Like his stave is glowing. It's like literally like Gandalfing over here, but he doesn't do magic. They're strange things. Understandably, balanced perspective for demons and all that kind of stuff, but it is what it is. A couple War Dancers have arrived on the side point. We're finally making our way over here as the Lothern Sea Guard and Shadow Warriors do envelop across. And at this point, it's basically going to be GG. They are going to move into the middle with a couple units left over, but overall our cavalry units, our Lothern Sea Guard are going to stay firm. We still have Bolt Thrower support, which is shooting spray fire mode. You can see the objective does start to get flipped a little bit, which was scary, but we have troops coming in, Rangers out of the Vanguard. You can see the objectives flipping back and forth with the favorable fights, and this side point is going to be taken by us as well as our Lyrian Reavers dominate that side fight. And you see the Shadow Warriors actually crush those skirmish cavalry in melee, those light caps, so that's kind of the cool application of those. GG, well played, fun game. neither Subutai or I really play elves often, so it was a bit weird for us. Our builds might have had some inefficiencies, but that's what it's about. We're learning together. I don't know what I would have changed, honestly. I really, really liked the Silver and Guard line, and the Shadow Warriors were awesome. Each of them like pretty much encroached 1,000 value. Silverins and Lothern's great. Bolt Thrower, I think just bringing 1 would probably be fine. I think 2 was kind of an inefficiency in my build. I think I would find a way to also maybe get probably the Sisters of Avalorn are cool as a niche tech against like Tree Men. I felt as if I needed like the Fireborn, but without healing, the Fireborn aren't as good. Because if he goes triple Waywatcher and just like nukes them down, it can feel pretty bad, and some great Stag Knights maybe pinning them. But yeah, the Burning Headcaster felt pretty good. I suppose I could have gone for a Lifecaster too. And brought, if you're going to go Lifecaster, I feel like you want to go more heavy cab, like just mass, like 3 or 4 Silver Helms, Dragon Princes, and this would be like your starting army, and then the rest of this would all just like, you'd cut all these Lothern Seaguard and get more Shock Cavalry, which probably honestly is better. But yeah, something to try. GG, well played. See you guys next time. That is going to be it for today, my friends. And yeah, you guys take care of yourselves.